Welcome back, occultists, to another video. This video contains stories that may be triggering or graphic due to the subject matter. You've read the title. Which do you prefer? Beach or pool? Comment below. If you are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe for more content. Let's get 8 likes on this video. Every morning, like clockwork, I would run along the shore, the rhythmic sound of the waves my constant companion. It was my sanctuary, a place to clear my head and prepare for the day ahead. But one morning, that tranquility was shattered, and my life spiraled into a nightmare that I still can't escape. It started as a day like any other. The sun was just peeking over the horizon, casting a golden glow on the water. That's when I saw it, a shape lying motionless at the water's edge. As I approached, a chilling realization set in. It was a body, a young woman, her skin pale and eyes staring blankly at the sky. Panic surged through me. I called the police, my voice trembling as I explained what I had found. They arrived quickly, their questions sharp and probing. I was a witness, nothing more, or so I thought. Days turned into weeks, and the image of the woman haunted me. I couldn't shake the feeling of dread, the sense that something was terribly wrong. Then, exactly 1 month after my grim discovery, it happened again. On my morning run, there it was, another body, in the same spot as the first. This time, it was a man, his features twisted in a silent scream. My mind reeled. What were the odds of stumbling upon 2 dead bodies in the same place? The police were less inclined to see it as a coincidence this time. Their questions were more accusatory, their gazes filled with suspicion. I was a prime suspect in their eyes, the common denominator in these grisly discoveries. Investigations commenced, my life turned inside out. They scrutinized my background, my habits, my mental state. But I had nothing to hide. I was just a regular guy, caught in an inexplicable situation. But as the police delved deeper, a horrifying possibility emerged. They suggested that I could be committing these crimes unconsciously, in a state of sleepwalking. It was absurd, impossible. I had no history of sleepwalking, no motive, no connection to the victims. They placed me under surveillance, monitoring my every move. My life became a prison, my innocence something I had to prove. Sleep became elusive, a battleground of nightmares and fear. Then, one night, the unbelievable happened. I woke up on the beach, the taste of salt in my mouth, my hands covered in sand and something else, blood. Horrified, I stumbled home, my mind racing. Had I done something terrible? Was I capable of such atrocities without even knowing it? The police found me the next morning, my distraught state only serving to solidify their suspicions. They took me in for questioning, and what they told me next shattered my reality. Surveillance footage showed me leaving my house in the middle of the night, walking to the beach. But there was more. They had found evidence, fibers, DNA, linking me to the victims. It was irrefutable. I was the killer, but I had no memory of it, no control over it. The truth was a bitter pill to swallow. I was a monster, a danger to others and myself. I was diagnosed with a rare and severe form of parasomnia, a sleep disorder that drove me to commit unspeakable acts. The court ruled that I was not criminally responsible due to my mental state. Instead of prison, I was placed in a secure psychiatric facility, locked away from the world. Here, in this sterile room, I'm under constant surveillance, my every move watched. The weight of my actions, the lives I took, haunts me. I'm a prisoner in my mind, trapped in a cycle of guilt and despair. I still see their faces, the woman and the man on the beach, in my dreams, in the fleeting moments of consciousness. They are my accusers, my judges, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks within me. As I pen this account, I wonder about the nature of self, of the mind's hidden corners that can harbor such horror. I am a man divided, my waking self a stranger to the monster I become in slumber. The beach, once a place of peace, is now a scene of my crimes, a shoreline tainted by the blood I spilled. And as I sit here, staring at the blank walls, I'm left to ponder the enigma of my existence, a life lived in the shadows of an unfathomable truth. My story is a cautionary tale, a stark reminder of the mysteries of the human psyche. I am a man condemned not by choice, but by a mind that betrayed me, leading me down a path of destruction and despair. In this solitude, I grapple with questions that have no answers, haunted by a reality that I can never escape. And as I close my eyes, I am enveloped by the darkness, both within and without, a darkness that has become my eternal companion. I've always been the one to bury my nose in books, to choose the quiet of my room over the noise of parties. But that night, against my better judgment and at the behest of my friends, I found myself at a beach party, a decision that would plunge me into a nightmare I never could have imagined. The air was filled with the scent of the ocean, the sound of waves crashing against the shore mingling with the laughter and chatter of my fellow students. They were celebrating our college football team's recent victory, a blaze of school spirit around a roaring bonfire. Everyone was high on excitement, and for some, the influence of drugs was evident. I stood at the edge of the festivities, feeling out of place amidst the dancing bodies and drunken cheers. My friends, caught up in the revelry, didn't notice my discomfort. I should have been at home, studying for the upcoming exams, but peer pressure is a potent thing. As the night wore on, the party grew wilder, the music louder. Someone handed me a drink, and though I hesitated, the desire to fit in overpowered my reservations. I sipped it, the bitter taste unfamiliar on my tongue. The world began to spin, the sounds and lights blurring into a kaleidoscope of chaos. I felt hands guiding me, voices whispering in my ear, but I couldn't make sense of anything. Darkness enveloped me, and I slipped into unconsciousness. When I awoke, it was to the cold, unforgiving floor of a basement. My head throbbed, my mouth dry and bitter. Panic set in as I tried to remember how I got there, but my memories were fragmented, elusive. I could hear muffled sounds above me, the distant echo of cheers and chatter. It sounded like I was still on school grounds, but the festive atmosphere was a stark contrast to the dark, oppressive room I was trapped in. The basement was dimly lit, the only light coming from a small, grimy window near the ceiling. I was alone, or so I thought, until I heard the sound of footsteps descending the stairs. He emerged from the shadows, a classmate of mine. I recognized him, but we had never spoken much. He was always quiet, keeping to himself. But the look in his eyes now was anything but quiet, it was obsessive, chilling. "You're finally awake," he said, his voice eerily calm. "I've been waiting for this moment." I tried to speak, to ask for help, but my voice was a hoarse whisper. Fear gripped me as I realized the extent of my situation. He approached, a camera in his hand. "You're going to be mine," he said, snapping photos as I cowered. "No one will believe you if you tell. I'll make sure of that." The hours that followed were a blur of terror. He would leave, then return, each visit more unsettling than the last. He spoke of his obsession with me, how he had planned this for months. I was a prisoner, my captor holding the power of blackmail over me. I lost track of time in that basement, the sounds of the party above a cruel reminder of the life I was missing. My only hope was that my friends would notice my absence, that they would come looking for me. On the third day, my prayers were answered. The door to the basement burst open, the sudden influx of light blinding. It was the police, their voices a mix of urgency and concern. I later learned that it was my phone that led them to me. A friend had found it buried in the sand near the bonfire, my last location still active. The police had been able to trace it to the school grounds, to the basement where I was held captive. My captor was arrested, his photographs and twisted confessions evidence of his guilt. But the ordeal was far from over for me. The trauma of those days in the basement haunted me, the feeling of being watched a constant shadow. I withdrew from school, unable to face the place where my nightmare had unfolded. The cheers and laughter of that night were now tainted, reminders of the darkness that had lurked beneath the celebration. I started therapy, trying to piece my life back together. But the scars, both physical and emotional, ran deep. Trust became a foreign concept, my every interaction tinged with suspicion and fear. The beach, once a place of joy and freedom, was now a scene of horror, the bonfire a beacon of my descent into despair. And as I try to move forward, I'm left wondering how many more like my captor are out there, hiding behind the facade of normalcy, waiting to strike. My story is a cautionary tale, a reminder of the dangers that can lurk in the most unsuspecting places. I am a survivor, yes, but at what cost? The price of my freedom was the loss of my innocence, my sense of security shattered by a single night of misplaced trust. As I rebuild my life, I can't help but look over my shoulder, wary of the shadows, of the memories that haunt my every step. And in the quiet moments, I'm left to ponder the fragility of our existence, the ease with which our lives can be turned upside down, leaving us forever changed in the aftermath of terror. The sun was setting, casting a golden glow over the calm waters. Our family vacation to a tropical island was supposed to be a blissful escape from the hustle of everyday life. The day had been perfect, the kind you see in glossy travel brochures, with my wife, Anna, and our 2 kids, Lily and Max, basking in the tropical paradise. Our decision to go parasailing seemed like the cherry on top of an already splendid day. Little did I know, it would turn into an experience that would haunt us forever. I had always been an adventurous soul, and my family shared my enthusiasm. As we set out on the small boat for parasailing, the operator, a jovial local named Carlos, assured us of calm seas and good winds. The kids were bubbling with excitement, their laughter mingling with the sound of the waves. Anna, ever the cautious one, still wore a broad smile, her eyes reflecting the vast expanse of the ocean. It was my turn to parasail first. I was hoisted up, soaring above the water, the view breathtaking. For a moment, I felt like a bird, free and unbound. But as I admired the view, a gust of wind, stronger than the rest, caught the parasail. I lost control, swinging wildly. I heard shouts from below, the sound of panic in Carlos' voice. Before I could react, I was plummeting towards the water. I crashed into the sea with a force that knocked the wind out of me. A sharp pain shot up my leg as it scraped against something beneath the water. Dazed and disoriented, I struggled to the surface, gasping for air. My leg was bleeding, a deep gash just above my knee. Panic set in as I realized I was injured, in the middle of the ocean. Carlos maneuvered the boat towards me, but as he did, I saw a chilling sight, a shark's fin, cutting through the water's surface with an eerie grace. My blood, seeping into the ocean, had attracted it. Fear gripped me, a primal, overwhelming terror. I could hear Anna screaming my name, the kids crying in fear. As Carlos tried to pull me aboard, the boat hit a submerged rock, jarring us all. We heard a sickening crunch, the sound of the hull being breached. Water began to seep into the boat, the vessel tilting dangerously. We were miles from shore, with a bleeding wound, a circling shark, and a sinking boat. I managed to climb aboard, but the situation was dire. The boat was taking on water fast, and the radio, our only means of communication, had a weak signal due to our remote location. Carlos tried to send a distress call, but the crackling static was the only response. Night began to fall, and with it, our hopes dwindled. The shark continued to circle the boat, a silent predator waiting for its chance. We huddled together, trying to stay calm for the kids, but the fear was palpable. Hours passed, each minute stretching into an eternity. The boat was sinking slowly, and our situation seemed hopeless. I held my family close, whispering words of comfort, but inside, I was grappling with the reality of our plight. Then, in the midst of despair, a miracle. Distant lights approached, our rescue boat, responding to our faint distress call. Relief washed over me, so intense it brought tears to my eyes. We were saved, plucked from the jaws of death by sheer luck and the perseverance of our rescuer. The journey back to shore was a blur. I was rushed to the hospital, my leg a mess of torn flesh and blood. The doctors managed to save it, but the scars, both physical and mental, would stay with me forever. Our family returned home, but the memory of that day haunted us. The beach, once a place of joy and relaxation, now held a sinister reminder of how quickly beauty can turn to terror, how a single moment can change everything. As I sit here, recounting the events of that fateful day, I can't help but feel a shiver run down my spine. We had danced with death, felt its cold breath on our necks, and emerged alive. But the terror of those hours, the helplessness, the fear, will forever be etched in my memory. The sea, a vast and mysterious entity, had shown us its dark side, a reminder of the unseen depths that lie beneath its tranquil surface. And as I try to find peace, to reconcile the beauty of that day with the horror that unfolded, I'm left with a profound respect for the forces of nature, a respect tinged with a deep, unshakable fear.